Hello, everybody. As you can see from the topic here, we will be talking about cross-border funding opportunities for Indian startups. And it's great to be here today. Thank you, Kerala Startup Mission and Government of Kerala for organizing this Huddle Global. I'm here after, actually first time after the pandemic, so very excited. And also very excited for this discussion that we will be bringing right now. We have 3 people who have traveled from different parts of India and the world to come here and talk to you about how Indian startups are attracting attention of investors from across the world. And we will be talking about what they are looking into when they are investing in an Indian startup. So my first question, I think you've understood, right? We have 3 people here. We have Yani from Taiwan. We have Jay, who's from India, but he's representing a Japanese fund. And then we have Ashutosh representing a US fund. So you have different perspectives of people from across the world. And the first question that I want to ask all of them is that, please tell us about the kind of investments you've already made in Indian startups and what has been your priority when you're looking at an Indian startup to invest in. So we will start with Ashutosh.
Thank you, Nemesisa. Really appreciate it. It's so good to be here and seeing such an amazing conference. Like literally, I came from US 3 weeks back, and then I went to see my family in one of my home state. And then since then, I've been traveling. So last 2 weeks, I went to Jaipur, I went to Delhi, I went to Bangalore, I came here, I'm going to Hyderabad, I'm going to Bangalore again. So I'm like just like trying to see the ecosystem here. And I'm so shocked to see like the entire startup ecosystem has emerged like crazy. Jay and I, we were like talking about like India has, off to the roof right now, like literally when it comes to the growth and innovation. Talking about my background a little bit, and let me introduce our fund as well. So I am originally from India, of course, and then studied here undergrad, went to the US for my grad school, and since then I moved to, I joined Dojo, which is a, early stage accelerator and a VC fund, and moved to California afterwards. So we are sector agnostic generalist fund with more than 300 portfolio companies all around the world. Fund 1 been deployed, Fund 2 been deployed now on Fund 3, which is $100 million new fund, and that gives us extra bandwidth to open our first office outside US, which is going to be India, and I'm so proud to say that. And the reason being, like, Indian ecosystem, as I mentioned earlier, like, the economy is booming, like, the entire innovation stuff, the thing that is happening here is, like, you cannot see anywhere in the world. From our US fund, we already have developed, like kind of deployed around like 30 to 40 investment in India. To name a few, if you are from Bangalore, you might have heard Beehive co-working space. That was like, we were the first investor in Beehive co-working space back then. In Delhi, Unlu is like one of the investment, which is now Mugafi. They are 30 million valuation. So we invest very small check size, with 50K, and then we do follow-on investment up to $1 million afterwards. Our thesis is unique because we don't just spray and pray. If you have heard that like we have invested in 300 companies, you might say, hey, you guys are doing this spray and pray model. But we don't. Like we spray the money, but then we do the hand holding as well afterwards. So we really support our companies and reinvest up to $1 million afterwards. The reason being, she has something to say. Okay, cool. And, no worries. And the reason being, like, I don't want her to be distracted with me, like, talking. Like, we love talking. In the VC, we do nothing but talking all the time. So, yeah, I was saying, like, the reason being, like, we are not following a spray and pray model because we put 50K and then we support our companies on the day-to-day growth and stuff like that. So we do the audit and then we keep redoing the audit, like, every 6-month basis to find what's their probable IRR, and compare that with the CAGR of the company as well. That way we decide, okay, we want to put another $1 million or not. And $1 million here is like, it's a big money in the Indian ecosystem, if we say like 8 crores pretty much. So which is good. And we have like amazing portfolio in India. And now we're going to back a lot of Indian founders. That's our hope. And by March, we are looking to invest in at least 20 new companies as well. And in April, we are going to have like a big conference, launch party of Expert Dojo. So if you're in Bangalore, feel free to hit me up afterwards. I'm going to invite you. And looking forward to amazing deals here as well and sharing deals with Nemo, with you guys and everyone here. So thanks for having me here. Really excited what we have in our pipeline. That's it.
Sure. Thanks, Ashutosh. I think that's a key differentiator for you, that you're not just funding the startups, but also helping them grow. Now I'll move to Jay. Jay is the one who actually started T-Hub. He is the founding CEO of T-Hub. But now he is building something amazing, which is the Indo-Japanese ecosystem. And I would like to understand from you, Jay, what has been your funding strategy through Beyond Next Ventures in Indian startups, and what is the way ahead?
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you, Nemesisa. Good to be here. I'm also a fellow Malayali, so namaskaram. Namaste, konnichiwa, good afternoon, hola. So very quick background. I've been an entrepreneur myself, twice successful and third time was a failure, and my wife said that's enough. But as far as the fund is concerned, we are a Japan vintage fund. We are an 11-year-old fund. We focus on deep tech. We have 3 funds in Japan, one of which is fully deployed. The second one is 90% deployed. The third fund is a $180 million fund, which has just been put together. In India, we're now setting up an early stage fund. It's a $50 million fund. As far as our ticket sizes go, we focus on pre-seed, seed, and pre-series A. So 500K all the way to 1.5, perhaps 2 million. In India, we've done a total of 81 investments. In India, we've done 14 investments. We've had 4 exits, 2 IPOs. So very successful as far as getting to liquidity is concerned. In India, we've had 1 exit, and the 2 big names in India that you can probably recall. One is Big Hath, which is one of India's largest agri-tech platforms. They're doing well over 200 million US. There's Gromo, which is a fintech company focused on wealth advisory for tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 India. But yeah, and many other portfolio companies. But our focus really is deep tech, healthcare, climate. We love hardware, we love material science, semiconductors, etc. Thank you.
Thanks, Jay. Now I'll come to Yani. Yani is actually, this is her second time visiting India, and coming to Kerala, this is her first time. And I think she, as an investor, she has invested in companies from many regions in the world, but first time she's also interested to invest in Indian startups. So Yani, what do you think of Indian startups? And once you start investing, what kind of strategy will you have?
Thank you, Nemo, and thank you to having me here. This is my second time to India. So as a foreigner, and also I'm based in Taiwan, the information of also the startup ecosystem, everything about India in Taiwan is very rare. It's very hard to find information, hard to know what's going on in India. So to be honest, I think I have to come and to see and to share and to know and to back to Taiwan to that Taiwan startup ecosystems know. So I want to introduce myself to give you some background of myself. Yeah, of course, I'm from Taiwan, but I travel around in Asia, especially Asia is startup ecosystem. I have been involved in the ecosystem for more than 1 decade. Before that, I worked with the government agency. So I know to work with the startups, to support the startups, we got to work with the government, especially in Asia, to work with the government closely. So I spend many times with the government and in the public sector. I also spend also like 5 to 10 years in public sector, and I'm very good because I'm very good at the 0 to 1 process. So I'm the founding team of the accelerator, 4 accelerator in Asia, including accelerator in Taiwan, of course, Taiwan, Korea, and China. So that's why I think if I want to support startups, so I can leverage my resource in Asia region, especially Asia startup ecosystem. So my company focus on the startups who have the potential to do global business. So the way we work with the ecosystem partner in different countries. So therefore, we have an alliance called Asia Bridge. And that is the one thing we support the government. In terms of the investment, we look into the startup in the area of the AI, ESG, and also smart cities. Yeah, of course, although we know Taiwan is very good at the semicon industries, and we think in terms of the startups, we believe that especially AI startups will be the driving force to make the, AI will be the driving force to make the whole the application of the startup in a rapid growth way. So we also work closely with the chip design companies in Taiwan as like a real tech, like a media tech, something because they already have some program to support startups. So that is currently what we're doing in Taiwan in Asia.
Thanks, Yani. So Yani has been building something called Asia Bridge, where I'm also a partner from India. And what we try to do is help Indian startups access, or first understand and then access Asian ecosystems. And we work closely with multiple governments, organizations, and we have seen that with the thriving Indian startup ecosystem, startups have started thinking global first. And I think that's a great opportunity for even enablers like us to help them achieve those visions, create truly international companies. But there's also one thing, one risk which is associated and which is perceived about Indian startups, that, when they are scaling, there are sometimes issues that they face, whether it could be regulatory, whether it could be related to internal differences between founders, so on. So Ashutosh, I want to ask, because US investors have been quite dominant in investing in Indian startups, so how do you perceive these risks, and how can Indian startups navigate to create more investor confidence?
No, this is amazing. And first of all, so good to see like we have like Indo-Taiwanese, Indo-Japanese, Indo-US kind of like model. And you guys do Indo-Korean as far as I know, right? So this is amazing. Like the cross-border funding thing in India is like going to be the new normal specifically. And for Indian founders, like literally, now the all eyes are on India in a way. That's why we are here. That's why they are here as well, like being the foreign fund in India. Because if you guys have like heard the news, like with what happened with General Catalyst acquired a venture highway for $1 billion, right? So like this is crazy market right now. So and the question that you asked about the risk in the Indian founder, investing in Indian founders. So we have invested, as I mentioned earlier, like 30 to 40 companies in India from a US entity. So first risk being a foreign entity is like dollar in is very easy, but dollar out is so tough, right? And that's why we thought of like how we should navigate this. Like I know Gift City is one way to kind of like start playing it out that way to kind of like how you can still grow your dollar or get your dollar back as well in your like country where you have fund, kind of like registered. But then we thought of like we already have the US fund. The best way is to kind of have a local entity in India so that we can back a lot of Indian founders and have like all the benefits of the regulations point of view as well. In early stage, the regulations thing being a foreign entity is like one risk, of course. And you also mentioned about the internal risk factors as well. So as far as I know about this whole ecosystem, like since we invest early stage companies anyways, the first risk is like, the co-founder relationship specifically. Like 68 to 70% of startup fails within first 3 years because they have not having like really good relationship with their co-founders. So like in the founding team, you need to be like finding people who can, spend time beyond your working hours as well, and then hang out and chill pill and vibe really well. Otherwise, like it's hard. Like early stage companies is hard. Like that's why we need to bet. And when we see deals, we try to find like why this founder is right fit for building and solving the right problem that they are solving specifically. So find the right team. Risk in team is like definitely one factor. Regulation in India is tough and it's still being regulated. Now we're talking like before jumping on the stage, like Jay and I, that now they have also regulated the fund manager rule in India as well. If you want to be a fund manager, you need to pass and get a license, like it's more like an IB kind of thing in FINRA or Series 7 in the US. But then it's again, we need to go back to the school, go back to study again about like getting the license. Then only you can open Cat 2 or Cat 1 fund, whatever you want to do this stuff. So regulation is definitely a big problem. But the best thing is like the government is supporting a lot. Kerala Startup Mission, I was like listening to one of the panel yesterday, like what they are doing, what you guys are doing, like in the government, people in the government. Also the Métis and all the startup mission thing. Like I'm so amazed seeing that. Like now educated people are coming to the play. They are making decisions. They are changing the way how you can invest. I was having conversation with the gentleman sitting right here back in Delhi. He mentioned, he mentioned that the way they used to invest earlier is like take money as loan or take money as a grant and then go back and raise fund. Now these guys have changed the model as well, and it all came from by doing it actually. So the government is learning from their past experiences and improving the model. And now the new model, he suggested that get the institutional funding first and then get the grant from the government, which is a way to kind of like also we are doing the diligence because this is our bread and butter all the time. And now based on that, government will back those decision making as well. So this is amazing. Like I'm really impressed, and that's why we are here. We're going to launch our fund. We're going to like back a lot of Indian founders. We'll mitigate the risk for dollar in, dollar out. We're going to get dollar in and grow the dollar right here.
Founders, you can actually pitch to him immediately after this session, please. He has already given you this permission. Jay, I think something similar I want to ask you, but the context is that, from a Japan culture perspective, traditionally, the Japanese organizations, whether funds, companies, corporates, they are considered more conservative. And the startup culture itself is very dynamic. So from a cultural alignment, how do you think Indian startups can understand and align with the business culture, Japanese business culture, and that would help them attract more investments and also long-term relationships?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think if you put the founder mindset on, right, the short answer is they don't have to. And the reason I say that is, I think most founders today, unless you're doing D2C where you need to really understand the consumer mindset, to a degree, a little more removed B2C, but then if you're doing enterprise SaaS, deep tech, you really need, as a founder, to have a mentality of if you're a venture scalable business, have the mentality of going global on day one. There are two reasons for it. One, the number of companies over the last 10 years where the path to becoming a billion-dollar company, a billion in terms of valuation, has reduced by 50% if the founder has built a company, a product that can go global from day one. Meaning if the path to building a unicorn is 8.5 years, it takes about 4.5 years if you decide to go global on day one. Or the other way to look at it is if you're building a venture that is focused on scaling in and for India, the time it takes for you to go global, you can double it. So the mindset of a founder to go global right from day one is what I would attribute to success if you really want to take capital and scale your business. So I don't think the cultural context of the desire to go to Japan or to Taiwan or to the US should be a prohibiting factor for a founder if you really want to go global from day one. The other attribute to that is the idea of the bridge between a minimum viable product that you've built in India and a product market fit where the market could be outside of India, right? What I mean by that is, if you do have an MVP and you have traction in the market, most founders think that I have product market fit because I have a paying customer. That is not product market fit. That is a hobby on steroids. The test of product market fit is when you cannot shut the door. You have so much demand from customers that you're thinking twice and thrice in terms of feature set attribution or figuring out new channels. The other test of product market fit is if you remove your product from the market, your existing 3 or 4 customers are going to be super pissed at you. That's when you have product market fit. Just because you have 2 or 3 clients who are paying does not mean that you have product market fit. Now, the extension of that thought is if you want to go global, if you build an MVP and you have paying customers and you want to build a new product or enhance features to go to another market, you're redoing your MVP. And that's a waste of time as a founder. So if you have the ability and the DNA as a founder to think global, act global from day one is what I would say. And therefore, don't worry about the markets that you want to get to. when you raise capital, you'll figure out which market you want to go to on account of what you're building. So that would be my answer.
Yeah, and just a follow-up question to that. I think, especially in the context of Japan, the government is itself very actively inviting Indian startups, but there is a language barrier that is there. So what would your advice be in that context?
Yeah, one, use ChatGPT. It's a simple answer. But no, the real answer is, Japan is a country that has done wonders in terms of the last 40 years of providing foundational science, which leads to engineering, which leads to products, which leads to technology, which leads to solutions. And that continues, right? So if you're in deep tech, language does not necessarily become a barrier for you to get to Japan. There are quite a few Japanese funds that operate in India today. The best one, of course, is Beyond Sanchez. So lesson number one for entrepreneurs, always be selling. Right? But yeah, I don't think linguistically there is a barrier if companies do want to go to Japan. Right now, there are 2 programs that Panasonic is running in India for founders who are willing to and looking to apply. And there are quite a few partners there, as you are quite familiar, Nemesisa, that bring partnerships to India with a cross-border bridge between the 2 governments or between corporates. Yeah, and happy to field questions based off of any of these programs offline. Yeah.
Comment on that as well. It's great, like feedback. Like language is not a barrier anymore. You can talk tech if you're building deep tech. And I've seen like Japanese people living in the US still speaking Japanese, using translation, and there are a bunch of tools that you can use to kind of like do this step and communicate honestly. So it's not a big problem. I see a common trend. That's why I picked the mic right now. Cultural. You talked about the cultural thing between the India and outside country. Indo-US, of course, the culture barrier is not there because and the trend that I'm seeing specifically, India used to be a kind of a back office for a lot of companies sitting in the US, paying less dollar and getting stuff done. But the new emerging trend that I'm seeing, and even the US, literally 90, as per stats, 90 unicorns in the US is being founded by the Indian founders. India is number 1, if you see the stat. Then followed by Israel, then any other country, then Canada, then any other country out there. So Indian people in the US has done amazing job, by the way. And also, if you go to any of those big unicorn or big startup, you name it, their CTO used to be Indians. But now the trend which I'm coming right now is the CTO is becoming CEOs, and they are handling the entire execution side. Even in India used to be, as I mentioned, the back office for a lot of companies, tech companies in general, but no more. We are now place where you can do R&D, you can do a lot of stuff, and unicorns are popping out, literally 5-6 years back. If you see the trend, we had how many unicorns? I don't know the stats, 5, 10, and within 5 years we have 114. Right, so this is the potential that we have right now. So culture barrier is gone, and the best thing that we have, we are unified by culture technically and diverse in our own way. Literally more than 250 constitutional language, and we all speak English as a common language. So for us, it's such an amazing, powerful thing that we have, and all of us are literally techie, advanced. So the future is India. I'm so bullish right now. You cannot even think about it.
Yeah, I think the Indian techies actually paved the way. And today, Indian startups can get benefited when all this capital will come to India. My next question is to Yani. Yani, very important question this is because you are from Taiwan, and we all know that Taiwan is leader in hardware and semiconductor technologies. These are economically and technologically advancing sectors, key to the growth in this AI age. So how can Indian startups collaborate with Taiwanese companies and leverage Taiwan's strengths to drive innovation in these sectors?
Thanks for asking. I've been thinking about this, about the semicon industry, how to co-op with the startups, not only Taiwan startups, but also foreign startups. I think there is few steps for you, especially Indian startup, wanted to join the very rapid growth path of the semicon industries. I think first one, if you are not familiar with the Taiwan, first one you can come to Taiwan. Yeah, I'm the Taiwan ambassador. I'm sorry. Okay. Anyway, come to Taiwan. There in every year we have a lot of events, not just only startup event like this. We have two big major one. One is in June and one is in November, just last week. And this is the startup event, or we can say this is startup festival. A lot of people. And except for that, there are also vertical events. For example, we also have a semicon festival, semicon conference, also a very big one if you want to focus on semicon industries. And that conference event will attract almost of the not only the big semicon company in Taiwan, but also the whole supply chain of the semicon companies in Taiwan, especially in Hsinchu. Hsinchu is the city where TSMC located. Yeah, that's the first thing. You can come to Taiwan to join the event, to meet people, and to know what's going on there in Taiwan. And I'll say Taiwan is very friendly, so you can meet a lot of people and make friends, and you will know what's going on. Okay, then second one, probably you can try to, once you know what's going on there, and maybe you can try a few ways. For example, you can join accelerator programs in Taiwan. And there are some accelerator programs or startup programs in Taiwan from the private sector, from the public sector. For example, from the private sector, some of the semicon companies, as I know, like the one probably you don't think this the Taiwan companies, NVIDIA, they have an inception program for startups. And also the IC design company like MediaTek, they also have a startup program for not only for Taiwanese, but also globally, because it's global companies. And not only these two, but also there are some, semicon is not just, one industry, or one technologies. It's kind of a whole industry, all supply chains. So in terms of the ICT, there are also some company, the corporate companies. They also have a accelerating program like a Wistron. They have a hardware accelerating program, co-work with the companies in startup companies from Taiwan, but also from other countries. As I know, recently I just mentioned that Taiwanese is not familiar with in India. So as I know, they are recently more closely with the startup in Southeast Asia, like Singapore, Malaysia, or Thailand. Yeah, and this is the corporate accelerating progress. And except for that, of course, because the semicon industry is already very good in Taiwan, but it is also very dangerous that because every country wants to do semicon, so make government nervous. Like, okay, there are so many followers, what should we do? So the government side, they also have some startup programs. They want to attract semicon startups to Taiwan. What do? They have a program kind of like, I don't remember the name of the program, but however, what they do is they have a kind of like a 6 months of a program. You can come to Taiwan for at least 1 to 2 months physically, and they will introduce you to semicon supply chain, the industry, and to know, to meet, to like a matchmaking, or to see if there's any angle that you can co-op with the local Taiwan semicon companies. That is the program supported by the Taiwan government, for example. And I think this is kind of like a full startup accelerating programs. So except for that, of course, the easiest way for you is just partner with the local. I think it's the easiest. Partner with local, find a trustworthy local partners who can represent your company, or you will hire a country manager, something that does to meet and to leverage the Taiwanese resource. And in terms of a government resource, recent years, not just the program, but also there are a lot of the funding focused on startups, focus on not just startup ICT area, but also semicon also. We also have some funding for our lifestyle, cultural, entertaining, this kind of area. So I think a lot of things you can try, but just come and know first. That's my suggestions.
Thanks, Yani. Just a quick follow-on question to that, because rest of our panelists are Indians, and you are the person who's coming to India for the second time. So your interaction with Indian startups has been very limited so far. So what has been your impression of the startups you have met, and what's your perception? Yani, you, follow-on question.
Well, it's a very tough question for me because this is my just second time. That time I just come for promote an event called Idea Song from the government side to attract a lot of the Indian startup to attend the Taiwan idea competitions. And this is my second time and just landed yesterday. However, oh my God, what should I say? However, I think India for me as a foreigner, especially from Taiwan, a very small, island. We have a very limited population, just 23 million population. And the worst part is Taiwanese population is decreasing for years, not just this year. For example, this like 1 month before, there's a news says the middle age of the Taiwan is, you cannot believe it, 45. So the shape is just like this. Can you believe that? The Taiwan population is like this. So when I come into the event that today, and I see so many young people and very energetic, and the entrepreneurial vibe is very clear, and the people are very keen to talk to. For example, I just sitting over there, and there are a lot of people coming to me. So India, for me, I think is not just market, but also talent pool, and this is kind of like the company, the upside. The side of the Taiwan. So as a Taiwanese, or I will say the other Taiwanese will look for the startups in India will be like one, education. Because we need a lot of talent, you can say, to partner with Taiwanese companies and to expand what we have done, the technology, whatever technologies or services from Taiwan to all over the world. And also, we know India now is everywhere. I mean, not just in US. Yeah, it's everywhere. So we are happy to co-op with the Indian as a partner and to expand the business all over the world. This is one thing. And second thing I will say is IT. Is IT, because I will say this is not a stereotype. I think we all know that the Indian is very good at math. The fundamental technologies is very good. And so far in Taiwan, more and more students or school, they transit their focus from fundamental study R&D to application more. So I think this is kind of also the thing we can think to work together. And the third part is, I would say probably my personal interest is ESG, especially the wellness, agriculture, and healthcare. Yeah, because I'm not sure everyone know the working environments in Northeast Asia, the stress, lifestyle. The working stress is very high. Very, very high. So everyone will be very, very late. There is also something called that you can only leave until your boss leave. And this is the things I think we need to improve. So for my personal observation, India very happy. It's a happy people, you know, happy people. Even the economy is not so mature like Taiwan, but everyone is nice and happy. They have a own way of their lifestyle. So I think probably I'm still looking for what the reason why. Probably religion, I don't know. So awareness will be the third thing I think is good to look at too. Yeah, probably I talk too much.
Thanks, Yani. I think, yeah, lots of opportunities between India and Taiwan for sure. And the last question I'll pose to both of you before we open it up for the questions from the people here. So this question is for both of you, and it has two parts. One is, if any of the startups here have to pitch to you, then what would be your advice to them? Second, if they have to scale in the respective markets, what will be your advice? So these two questions, first Ashutosh or first Jay?
Okay, for sure. And as Yani pointed out, like the average age of Taiwan is 45, and you know average age of India is 27, half of it. And that's what makes India like really an amazing place right now, because we are the youngest country with 1.5 billion population, that's it, very small. But then everyone is techie, and that's what the drive that you see, people are happy, crazy, like doing a lot of innovations. This is something amazing that we have right now. So we need to live it as a whole, as a country in general. Question following up to your question. First one was what advice I should give to the listed company who is pitching to us. And the second one was how they can scale to any specific market. Okay, cool. So launching our India fund, again, going back to the point, the way we started the conversation, is to kind of like invest in Indian founder and help them walk the bridge to the United States. You know, but it's not only that way around, it's also other way around as well. We'll get our companies that we invest in the US, walk the bridge to India as well, and scale to India as well. That's the powerful thing that we have. Like YC is known for US. There are a bunch of VCs and accelerators are known for India. We want to be known for Indo-US kind of a bridge. It's one of a kind that we are going to build. So that will help the companies in India scale to the US market, companies in the US to scale to Indian market. After going to all these places, as I mentioned, I've been going all over in India right now. We'll be not just building a bridge between India and US, but we are now seeing like our portfolio company, actually I was at BTS, and I don't know if you met one of the portfolio company of ours called Peak Medical. So Haley, she came from Australia, and now with the help of Startup Kerala Mission, she's setting up her office in Kerala, by the way. And this is my first time in Kerala, by the way, so it's such an amazing place. I'm like, literally, I'm not missing California anymore, other than weather. So amazing place, like literally very clean, next to the beach, so I'm loving it. And she's setting up, going back to the point, she's setting up her office in Kerala. The reason being, like, India is a place where you need to be. So she's moving her company from Australia to India, with the help of ours, like our help on one side, and also the startup ecosystem, you know, enablers here as well. And that's how what we are imagining is like getting our companies not only from the US, but also from Australia, from Dubai, from you go to any country, we have a portfolio company sitting there. We will want them to kind of like tap at some point in India, scale it here, because, you know, if you solve a very small problem, which is a mass problem here in India, you can easily have like $1 problem, like very common concept in the startup ecosystem in general. You can get $1.5 billion in your bank account if you solve a $1 billion problem for one, like if each citizen of India pay you $1, you can like be the billionaire or millionaire immediately. So solve the mass problem. Going back to the question again, like if you're pitching to us, the thing that we want to see, like why you are the right founder, I already mentioned that, to solve that specific problem. What's your background? TAM, SAM, SOM, all this stuff. Anyways, it's very generic. Everyone knows about it. The main thing that we are betting on early stage is like the founder market fit specifically, not the product market fit. Of course, that will follow. You know, product market fit will take time to kind of like, you know, to analyze it, because we categorize that at different horizons, and I don't want to go that deep into the nitty gritty. But the thing is that we just want to bet on you. So showcase why we should trust you with our money, because also the greed is always there. Like as a VC, we want to put the money where we can multiply it at faster rate. Otherwise, there are a bunch of other asset class like mutual fund we can put our money in, and then FD like in like fixed deposit in the bank we can, you know, get 6% interest. We are not looking for 6% interest here. Right, so showcase how we can multiply our investment and why we should trust you. Let me tell you one thing: the entire venture game is just based on two philosophy: relationship and trust. right? If you maintain the relationship, if we say, okay, like 99% of the time we reject the application. Even though we are one of the biggest, like very aggressive venture capital in the world. You know how many investments we do a month? 4 to 5, like literally. And how many deals that we see is like around 300 to 400 companies every month. So even though 1% will get accepted, it will be like 4 companies in our portfolio immediately. So 99% of the time we reject, but the rejection doesn't mean that you are not the right fit. There are multiple reasons why we reject, like the thesis, like we don't do hardware, we don't do climate tech. Even though we are sector agnostic, because with 50K investment, you cannot do anything in hardware. Like we have done a couple of healthcare devices in the past. FDA approval in the US takes like years and years. So that's why we have our own thesis. And the reason behind rejection is could be like, this is not right fit based on our thesis. But sometimes it's like you guys are too early in this step. Like I'm just talking in general. Sometimes it's too late for us because we have like our own mandate to kind of like put the money in. But don't never ever get disappointed by the rejection. Rejections are the gateway to the success. That's what I believe. I used to be a founder before I exited too. So I'm also having like the founder mentality as well. So the way we see it, resilience, commitment, and consistency is the thing, perseverance as well, that you need to follow. Like I know I'm using the buzzword, but this is why it is. Like this is hard reality. Reapply. We have seen the companies taking investment from our side, like after following up for 6 months, 7 months, 8 months in a row. And they end up like, because we want to see how honest you are with your numbers, report your numbers on quarterly basis, monthly basis, hey. And then when you are right fit, sky's the limit. And then we put the money, 50K, we put another $1 million after first 3 years of investment. So be consistent, try to build the relationship. The founder who has gotten money after 4, 6, 7, 10, like 15 follow-ups, the reason because I mentioned relationship. He respected, he or she, or they, them, whatever, the person is respected our relationship with them. Right? And that's how we leverage that relationship. We trusted, okay, this is the right founder where we can put the money in. So early stage, nothing matters other than relationship and trust. And then regarding the scalability factor, I'll just quickly wrap it up. It's like, taste the market. We invested in one of the companies, an American guy sitting in the US, having Delaware C Corp, been building the company in the US for a long time, for 3 years. He never had a product market fit, 0 revenue. And then he started like iterating, like, not pivoting, but evolving the model specifically. And then he realized like the market, the geo market, the geographical location is not US made for him, it's Indonesia. He moved the entire company, he moved with his family to Indonesia, and now the revenue is $1 million a month, like MRR in general. So you need to find like, what are the geographical location you need to tap into. Yeah, so like within first 3 years, as I mentioned, like there is a high chance that you're gonna fail, right? So that's the hard reality. You can do A/B testing as much as you can. If it's a scalable product that you are building a SaaS or anything like that, you can test into multiple markets. Like you can optimize hundreds of landing pages as well. Like literally, what you are seeing on the slide behind us, you can have like like different slide in blue color in another room, and you can see how many people are getting converted in which room. Like, okay, there are 100 people sitting here, maybe with the blue color slide, there will be like 150 people. So maybe a blue color theme is something working for you. So that's how you can optimize the landing pages and all. So taste the market by optimizing the landing pages and stuff like that. That's it. That's my take.
Thank you, Ashutosh. Jay, your comments on the same question.
Yeah, I fully agree with you, right? I think I'll give you 2 perspectives as a founder, as an ex-founder, right? One, do you really want to scale? But before that, I want to tee off on the point that Yani made. I think, I've been a founder. I left India when my company got acquired, and then I came back to India, built another company, again moved out. I can tell you, based on my own personal experience, a comment that Jamie Dimon made recently, it is not India's decade, it truly is India's century, right? And there's some beauty in it, right? And the takeaway for me there is the gravity of India. This is the only domestic market left in the world where growth is very close to double digits. Period. This is the only market left. Every other market, you've hit a plateau where the growth is sub 10%. India, of course, is 7-8%. Adjusted for risk and inflation, you do the math, right? So therefore, India is beautiful. But going back to the the question, I think from a scale perspective, the question that you need to ask founder, how many founders here? Okay, good. That's very good. This should land. How many wannabe founders? Okay, very good. I don't know what the rest of you are doing here then. Uh, so two things, right? One, forget the idea that you need venture capital to scale. The minute you take venture capital, you are living in somebody else's dream. You are not going to live in your dream, rightfully or wrongfully. So get that into your heads. Anytime I meet a founder who says, if I had money, I would. Well, the point is you don't, right? So figure out if you really want money. A double click of that is, if I raise money to find my customers and increase and reduce my CAC, the rest of the sentence is moot. Venture capital money is not for you to figure out how to figure out who your customers are. That's for you to figure out. Venture capital money is for you to scale, to figure out growth. Growth is not going from 1 to 10. Growth is going from 1,000 to 1,000,000, right? So point number one, when it comes to scale, is the recalibrate your own measure of scale. Whatever you have in your head, recalibrate it based off of what the external market wants. Point number two is what Ashutosh mentioned, which is you know, if you have applied for jobs, I'm guessing most of you don't apply with the same CV, right? You customize your CV based on what the requirement is. No, right or wrong, that's what most people do. A VC match is very similar. Not every VC is going to be somebody you want to get in bed with. Their thesis has to fit your thesis. Their ticket sizes have to fit your ticket size. Your growth trajectory better sit well with their growth trajectory. So your growth story based off of the desire to raise capital should not be the same as it resonates with VCA versus VCB versus VCC. You have to adapt. So those would be my two comments, right? And of course, going from 0 to 1, minus 1 to 0, 0 to 1, 1 to 10, that's a much longer story, which I'll be happy to assist, not as a VC, but as an ex-founder at some point, if you want to meet me outside. But yeah. Expansion to Japan. Yeah. On account of what I've done, expansion to US is something that I've done reasonably well. And happy to expand on that. Expansion to Japan, my recommendation would be twofold. One, Japanese corporates, right? Where Japanese corporates ranging from Marubeni to Toshiba to Panasonic to Mitsubishi, they're all very, very large conglomerates. I was sitting in with TDK the other day. For people of my age, the thing that comes to mind when you think of TDK is cassette tape. Some of you won't even know what that means. But the point I wanted to make is TDK has 52 business units. You probably don't know what a cassette tape is, right? They have 52 business units, right? So the angle with which you look at Japan is through the lens of which corporate and which business unit. That would be my one submission. The other submission is India does a lot of work with Japan when it comes to government relations. There's JICA, there's JETRO. The metro in Delhi was built with Japanese money to a large degree. The drinking water in Kerala was built with support from Japan. So the Indo-Japan corridor on the government side and the Indo-Japan or India global corridor through Japanese corporates would be the two angles with which I look at Japan.
Thanks, Jay. Those who are interested in Japan and Taiwan market, so I run Circle FC, which is a cross-border business accelerator in Delhi. We are also taking delegations in March to Taiwan and in May to Sushi Tech in Tokyo. So you can also reach out to us. We can help you understand these markets first. And with Ashutosh, there are many things in process, in plans. So you can also reach out to him, or maybe we can...
Get money, we'll take you to the US.
Yeah, we will take you to the US soon. And yeah, just to wrap this up, once again, thank you to Kerala Startup Mission for the opportunity, Government of Kerala for having us here. And funding from cross-border funding opportunities or getting funded from international VCs means that it's not only an opportunity to get money, but also global mentorship, market entry opportunities, and accelerated growth across markets. So please do reach out to these people. They will help you more. You can have one-on-one conversations. They'll be around. And it was great being here, and look forward to meeting you after the session. Thank you.